name's John Flanders, and I'm from the Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center. We are a nonprofit organization is here to support families, train you, and educate you so that you can participate in this process. So what's going on is Notre Dame is, of course, a private school, and the special ed laws have very specific provisions for private schools. Essentially, you know, they're not required to provide it. What is supposed to happen is you and Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in East Haven, right?
Yeah, West Haven.
West
Haven, yeah.
Okay, excuse me. Same thing. Anyhow, you're supposed to have a meeting
Okay, great.
with
Thank you.
Notre Dame and someone
Thank
from
you,
West
guys.
Because even though you live in North Haven, or New Haven, the law says that the town where the private school is located is supposed to work with you and the school to come up with a plan. Now, it's not, there is much less requirements that they provide the same services that you would get in an IEP. So it's going, it is definitely going to be less. The requirements on Notre Dame are very significantly lower than the requirements on New Haven Board of Education. So you're going to see a lot less. But Notre Dame is almost certainly covered under Section 504, which is a part of the federal law that prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities and requires that the entity provide accommodations that help them get access to their program. So that's what's going on. So they have this 504 program. West Haven ought to be at the table when you do that because West Haven receives federal money and they have to distribute some of their federal special ed funds to kids in private schools. You don't have an individual right to that, but most places, I mean, it's a couple of $1,000s, and they will generally allow you to spend that money on services for your son in school, so that's why they need to be at the table. But the bottom line is that you are going to have less protection for his rights because it's in a private school, because it's not covered by the IDEA. So they're absolutely right. If you went from West Haven Public Schools to New Haven Public Schools or vice versa, they have an obligation to continue those services until they figure out what's different. Because it's a private school, they have the feds can't tell them as much what to do. So it can be, you know, it can be a school like Notre Dame automatically offers a lot of things that a kid like you're describing would benefit from. You get smaller classes, you get a little bit more structure. And so that it may work out perfectly well, but it's going to be a process. So and if you have any questions about it, because it's weird. I mean, it's a very small percentage of kids do this. You should give us a call.
I actually second that. I work at Yale, and we actually had someone who talked us through the special ed process. We had like monthly meetings for a year, and we just kind of like asked about this. You know, it wasn't you, but they mentioned CPAC. And we had a couple of the parents who actually went there and were told how to negotiate the IEP process, the 504 and anything. And the information that they came back from his organization was amazing. So I say, yes, go all in. No, I'm sorry. Absolutely serious.
Oh, I like this lady.
Bring a recorder. Things that they were talking about would have never occurred to me. And just because of our situation, things are working out well. But if they weren't, those things that I learned from hearing what other parents did there, that's what I would be taking it from. So yeah,
thank you.
All in with this guy.
Great.
Is a fairly unique problem, and quite honestly, you're better off having a private conversation with us than in this, because it's going to handle it.
How's he doing? We didn't even ask that. Like, how have you liked it so far? What's the experience been?
At Notre Dame, but he haven't started. He
Oh,
haven't started later in the fall.
Okay. How's the next
Well, when he was having a really difficult time, We had a lot of challenges, and I did have to reach out to your group actually, and I got a couple of insights on how to get them tested, how to make sure that his plan was set for him, and how to make sure that they was following it. And after that, it became easier because I knew what to expect. Then he learned his own strategies and everything, and he did great, did wonderful.
And how long has he now had only the 504?
The 504 has been January of this year.
Okay, so it's a good chunk of time before you go. And how's that been going without, have you noticed a difference, or is it?
He's still doing great.
He's doing great.
He haven't used, the only thing he's using from the 504 is the big testing and
Those
the small
accommodations.
room. That's it. So far, he haven't needed any other accommodations.
So something we mentioned earlier in this overlapping session was the communication piece, which is kind of what you were saying as well, that, you know, on our side, like on the team table, right, we come to it really, I can speak for our team, that it's very, wanting to put the best interest forward. Now, yes, there's things that hold everyone's hands different ways, and it's hard for me to do this or to do that, but I want to do this. But the overall picture is that we're on the same team, including the parent who's part of the team. And so my recommendation always is to come in with that notion first, because it's easier and quicker to get to the problem if we're all on the same team strategizing for the same thing.
Yeah.
With that said, know your rights, know what you can and can't do, and what your child is entitled to, because at the end of the day, even if it's not on purpose or things like that, because definitely that's not the case, things can happen, and you want to make sure that you're always getting what you need for your child. So I think you're obviously doing the right thing. You're asking questions. You're trying to do what's best for him. But there's always other people that can help you along the way. Other parents, you know. If you form a relationship with someone in the school, that, you know, how are things going? You know, do you think I should have a meeting? Or, you know, it sounds like you've been through the process, right? You've been from like the not so lovely side of things to he's looking Notre Dame next year. Like, it's great. You give me a lot of hope in me, you know. And that's, you know, you start somewhere. You always want to keep improving. So I think you're doing the right thing. That's awesome. And then we haven't met you yet. But we're trying to kind of figure out how we can help everybody here. It's really a special ed 101, but everyone's at a different place in the steps.
Well, I'm actually going through the process. I have my second PPT with my daughter next week, but it's like been an ongoing process with her school. Like ever since like I had to keep her back in second grade because the teacher told me, oh, well, you know, the reading and the math is only gonna get harder. She actually ended up going to summer school, and just from talking to the teacher, me as a parent decided that what was best for my daughter, if it's only gonna get harder to pass her to third grade, then I might as well keep her back in second grade so that she gets that extra year. And it's like, going on to now she's in 8th grade, like I've been like requested, and then it's like now to the point where I have my first PPT like a month or two ago, and like what I got out of the PPT was well, in order to test her, we have to go through intervention first, which no. I thought as a parent that because I did the requested in writing to get my daughter tested, because I felt like all the years that she's been in this school, because see, the thing is, her school is bilingual.
Can I switch with you?
She goes to Johnson Daniels.
Okay.
Her school is bilingual. But my thing is, I felt as a parent, since my daughter's been there to pre-K, do I really want to switch her school so that she's at a school where it's all English? So when I finally, a couple of months ago, requested, okay, listen, my daughter, I'm tired of every time I get her report card, it's F, 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 F. Because technically, I feel as a parent, all these years, she's struggling, so this is why.
But she was retained into second grade, and
And
since then. her
yeah, and
report
it's
card
like,
is
yeah. So I requested that she get tested because I felt like, because I've always needed help in
If this
that
meeting
she-
back now, is that to review evaluations?
Well,
or is
the
it-
meeting, this second meeting that's actually, next week is the second meeting because what I got from the first meeting that they could not test my daughter without, even with me requesting in writing, without them doing intervention because according to the social worker at the school, there's like some paperwork or some questionnaire that they asked them before they do the testing. Oh, well, did they do the intervention?
I can
So,
tell you two things.
Parents, all parents have the right to an evaluation, okay? I found it on the parents' mind. What they're talking about in school is that, we have a lot of, when we test for special education services, we look for a significant disability, okay? So, does a child need to be talking to them, right? We're looking at a learning disability, we're not seeing any progress whatsoever over the course of a period of time. We have a lot of kids that kind of fall in that gray area where they receive intervention, and they're making some slow and steady progress. Typically, as a school district, what we like to do is provide some of those interventions to say, okay, it's not a disability, but they need some extra instruction in a different way, maybe a couple times a week, and they're making that progress. But again, that is, because a disability is a pretty heavy-duty load to carry, you know what I mean? But again, parents have the right to request an evaluation, and that is a part of your right.
So what I'm hearing is they didn't grant you the evaluation the first time?
no, they didn't. They told me that they had to go through the intervention. I had to wait, I forgot the time frame to go back to meet again. So, through the intervention, they did the intervention, and so my thing was to them, I don't want my daughter going to high school and then I gotta go through this process all over again. So the whole purpose of me doing this is because I wanna know if my daughter is special education or not. So when she gets to high school, all this stuff is in place, which I was thankful for the assistant principal because after meeting, she really, like stood up for me. I don't even know her, but she has a good relationship with my daughter. So she stood up for me and like made sure like all of that was like, in place and made sure that, so
this meeting coming
so
up this
eventually,
week is
so,
gonna-
yeah, so eventually, we had to meet earlier. The PPT had to end up being earlier because with the intervention, come to find out, my daughter's in 8th grade and she's like on like 5th or 6th grade level in like the math.
So
and
you're
reading.
making enough progress during
Yeah,
intervention.
so
There's
even
your-
with the
there's your data-
intervention,
there's your data right there.
she's not even, she's in 8th grade, she's going to high school, but technically, she's like out of 5th or 6th
So
grade.
you have the
level.
data from second grade when she was retained to now to 8th grade. That's what, 5 or 6 years worth of data to
Yeah.
show very limited slow progress.
And me not knowing my rights as a parent, I kind of just, I feel bad because I kind of just let it go, and all these years, she and now she's going to high school, excuse me. I get emotional at every PPT because I feel like, as a parent, I failed my child too because I didn't have the resources.
Listen, here's the thing, hindsight, we all would have done some, I would have probably worn a raincoat yesterday if I'd known it was gonna be pouring rain, right? But we got through it, right? My hair was a little messed up, but it was cool. At the end of the day, you're here, right? You have shown up for her, you showed up for her in second grade, you said, no, my girl's not going to third grade, right? And along the way, though she's made not enough progress, she is making progress. So don't beat yourself up about that. My thing would be more like at this point, looking back, she's in 8th grade, I would be curious to see what interventions were done along the way, right? And that's just for people kind of maybe even coming up, you're second, you want to make sure along the way, but that's not solely your that's the team's responsibility. That's, the school knows firsthand how your daughter's performing.
And it's like I've been mentioning these like issues to the teachers throughout the years. And
So is
like,
the purpose
we're
of
gonna
this?
get back to you, and then it's like, of course, I'm a teacher and I have 4 kids, a single parent, so it's like,
Just trying to make it work.
I'm to the point now where if I don't write stuff down, I forget myself, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
And I wouldn't feel bad about this first PPT that they didn't come to. Yeah, you could have just put your foot down and said, no, I want it now. But speaking as a school psychologist, the 4 weeks or however many weeks went by, and now they have that data, it's really helpful for, finding out the classification and just seeing how our learning is very helpful to us. And that's part of the reason why we do that. And it is on the checklist for disabilities, was an intervention tried, for how long, and was there success or was there not? So it is part, that person who told you that is correct, that is part of a checklist. But as a parent, you still have the right to be like, I don't want
yes,
that.
feel like something-
I was told that even if I was told that from somebody that works at the school who been my 19-year-old kindergarten teacher that I'm still close with, that it all has to do with sometimes it's like they don't want to do the paperwork and they act like they don't have the time, but I thought that as a parent at the PPT that I still had that right to say, listen, I don't care what you're saying, like I want my daughter to.
Right, and John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I saw you shaking your head, while the checklist for learning disability does have that specific question, has SRBI, scientific research-based interventions, been done? You don't need to do that to test for special education services. If a parent is coming to a table suspecting a disability, you're part of the team, and we can go.
So you don't want it to say get to that next step, but what ends up happening is, say at that meeting, say you really put your foot down and they said no, you said yes, and that's not that it's okay, but that's how you then leave the meeting, where you technically could then push on to due process, and I really, more like pressing, I don't want to say charges for lack of a better word, but you're moving to the next step for someone else to come in and say, it's time for the evaluation. Typically, we don't want to get to that point anyway, and parents hold a different piece of the puzzle than we do. So I think it's really, we go back again to this communication piece. What have you seen along the way? Now, she's in 8th grade, so you certainly have seen the struggles throughout elementary. You've seen where that has gone. Like Jen said, I wouldn't worry so much at this last meeting. This meeting was your first time really pressing for it, that you didn't get that piece, because you're only maybe 4 or 5 weeks into it now. Now, this meeting you're coming back is the idea that you guys are going to sign for testing and get a completed portion of the high school.
Yeah.
Does she know where she's going to high school?
She's just got accepted to co-op.
Oh,
And
good.
which art is she going to be doing?
She's not sure yet because she likes to do theater because
Okay.
she's been doing plays throughout the school she's in now. But she's also always wanted to do dance, so
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Not sure how to
like,
play it.
yeah.
And the good thing about that particular school or schools like that is that it also brings fun back into school again for someone who may have been struggling along the way. So if there's something she's really interested in, sometimes that helps balance out the other piece. But you are doing the right thing. And now, like Jen said, you'll see, even when you get your reports, once they do the reports, that there'll be a section in it that'll show her progress monitoring stuff. It's really good stuff for us to know, just so this comes from a place of like over-identifying years past and saying that kids had a disability that may not necessarily be the case for varying reasons. It still comes down to the fact that if you want it, you request it. If you see something, what is it, you see something, say something? Is that what it is?
Say something.
You see something, say something. But it does, all jokes aside, I think you're now in a good place, and that information you're gonna get from those evaluations are gonna be so helpful to the high school receiving her. Even if she doesn't qualify, even if it comes back that she doesn't, they still give a lot. I can't speak for all school psychologists, but I know like for Jen, she gives us a couple pages worth of like good recommendations for teachers, even if they don't qualify. What would help this child to succeed?
And you can ask that, that you can see, okay, so if, we go this week, sign for some testing, come back, and determine eligibility, she doesn't qualify. Okay, well,
Then
now
what?
Now, how, she still needs help, how is this supposed to be? There's a lot of kids that, well,
it may be an appropriate response to do an SRPI kind of intervention that you talk about. So I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not an educator. It probably is a good part of the process. But the law says specifically that you can't use that intervention to delay evaluation. So what also could have happened at the same time is they could have started the intervention and started the evaluations at the same time. So, but they're absolutely right. The whole purpose of this is to move forward. What do we do next? So you didn't do anything bad. Okay, you really did. The system is working slowly, the way it's supposed to. So don't beat yourself up, honestly. But make sure that you get questions, and you are, the single most important thing as a parent is you're entitled to answers, and you're entitled to explanations that you understand. And if somebody says something like that sounds weird, follow up, ask them a question. And if you don't get a good enough answer from that person, because sometimes people don't have a full grasp of their, then ask somebody else. Ask one of these guys. I've been listening to them describe the process that they're using, and it is really good. And not everybody has exactly the same process. So when you hit a question, when you hit a wall, go around it. Just don't bash your head against it, because that really hurts, and that's kind of what I do for a living. I know it hurts. So you have a lot of opportunities, particularly in a system like the size of New Haven, to go up the food chain, to go around the food chain, to find ways. The other thing is, it's my job, it's my organization's job, to make sure that you know what your rights are. And you can call us anytime, and the parent consultant who will answer those questions for you, and talk to you and explain your rights to you. And there's also postcards downstairs.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
almost out.
Thank you.
But our job is to help you understand where you are and where you can be in this process. And I gave one of Lisa's last, I had one of my colleagues' cards in my thing, and I was giving out cards earlier that said I was Lisa. Because I am one ugly Lisa. But I think they're absolutely right that you've got a transition to come to. And they're going to have, and quite honestly, the stuff that they do for an 8th grader and the stuff that they're going to have to do for a 9th grader is going to be different anyhow. So you would have had to have a significant, even if they've been doing everything precisely according to Hoyle, you'd be doing something entirely different in September anyhow.
Right.
You know, in an arts program, they're going to be integrating, you know, her dance.
Yeah.
Her dance is an important part of her life in 9th grade, where it wouldn't be in 8th grade. So the program is going to look different. But right now, you're at the right stage of the process. Go to the meeting, make sure that you get appropriate evaluations of reading, evaluation of dyslexia, evaluation of math progress, and school psychologists will be able to tell you the kind of things that, so one of the questions you need to ask is, what else do we need to know? Because not everybody asks that all the time. And that's probably the most important question you can ask at any stage of the process. Okay, this test is going to teach us this. This test is going to teach us that. And you have a right to understand what that is. This test is going to teach us that. What else? What aren't we going to know after those 3 evaluations? What do we need to do to find that out? Part of it is from the intervention, trying to adapt things on a smaller scale. And that's important. And, you know, a lot of times it works. they didn't put that stuff in there because it doesn't work. It does work. And that may be all she needs. But your process now is, what don't I know? And that every day you want to ask that question. And every time you ask it, somebody ought to tell you something that you didn't know before. And then, now what do I know? Because that's gonna get you through the process. And that only works if you guys are talking. If you're screaming, you screwed up my kid's life, that's not gonna, you're not gonna have that conversation.
If you, I know you guys have a
Sorry.
lunch being provided like at 12:15, so I don't wanna like hold
Yeah, we don't
everybody,
really
we
try
try
to-
to wrap up a little bit, but just so you know too, like going to high schools, each high school kind of provides different things as well, so like, just as an example, it may not be a special ed IEP thing, but say your daughter has issues with homework. Some high schools have mandatory homework help after school, like, another recommendation would be get to know co-op and what they provide to everybody, because it may cover things that you've been concerned about. And I know it's in like a weird location downtown, not weird, but kind of in terms of parking, I've tried to get in there 1,000 times and it's like not easy, or you want, so these are things that you want to navigate before you get to September, because you'll probably make a few visits and see what's going on. In terms of you guys, I know we talked a lot about specific cases, I don't know if any of that stuff helped you, but is there anything else that really sticks out, something you were hoping to gain from today? The PowerPoint does give kind of a start to finish on the way the process goes. But if you're not in the process or you've already done part of the process, then you kind of can jump in wherever you'd like. John, like you said, is available in terms of like CPAC, and there's other people there that also in terms of the advocacy part, if you're having issues. But again, our first recommendation would be seek out someone you can talk to at a school. I can talk to if you're having questions. I know you're talking to our school, but I know you. And so find someone who knows what they're talking about or can point you in the direction if they don't have the answer. Don't let someone make up an answer for you if they don't know. That's the worst thing someone can do. I think it might be just go try this.
Now you tell me.
I know.
I just made all that stuff up.
So is there anything like overarching that you had a question on? Or I know I don't want you guys to miss the lunch piece and there's a whole group presenter that's happening too. So
No, I just came to listen because I don't have no problem. Plus, my son go to New Haven Read, so he can help steer.
he gets up to good. That's a really good program. It is.
It's a really good program.
It is. It's awesome.
People are copying that.
He did.
New Haven Reads provides, they give us their early child assessment team, they give us, the end of the year, they give us a ton of books to give to parents. Books are expensive, I didn't realize how expensive books were,
You start to buy some. Another one of these older babies. And they're older, they're 27, you said now? Okay. So we get to that adult.
Another one.